Now a beautiful morning down the farm. Temperature's starting to drop a bit now, starting to feel that. So the first thing this morning, I'm going to do a couple of cable joints. Got to get these 95s from the pit into the kiosk, so I'm going to do splice connectors again, as it's the easiest way to just get into a rifle panel. So there's a rifle panel. I'm going to come down and do a joint around about there, and then we're going to do a second joint around about there. So this morning we're going to do a quick video on how to do a cable joint. So, alright, hope you like it. Okay, so this morning we are joining 25mm 3-core armoured to a 95mm 3-core armoured. The reason why we're doing this is you've got to go into a small kiosk, and to be honest, I don't fancy throttling a 95mm in about 6 inches of space. So we're going to basically step down the size of cable, and we do that by using a connector called a shear connector. It allows us to go from 95mm down to 25. Okay. All right, so this is the torpedo housing. What we're going to do is we want to get the torpedo prepped. So at one end, we're not going to touch the end on the 25mm end, because basically the cable's undersized for this torpedo joint. So we've got to build out the PVC casing on the armoured so it goes in, and then on the other end, as you can see, we have trimmed it down so it's suitable to go around the armoured cable. Now what we want is we want this lip to basically sit in the centre of the cable. So when we put it on, this is what that's what we're looking for. So when the cable sits bang in the centre of the torpedo, we know that we've removed enough of the end of the torpedo to allow the cable to sit in there nice and snug. Right, so what we're doing now is we're just getting the two cable ends ready. So what we've done is, let me grab the torpedo quick, is we have stripped back enough of the armouring to allow us to go about there, because we're going to strip this first bit of PVC off to allow us to bond onto the armouring, and then as you can see, the cords are long enough to go the full length of the joint. We want to do that so it gives us flexibility for where we can do our connections. Right, okay, so I'll get the next one ready. Alright, so we've now stripped the outer PVC case off, and on the end here we've just stripped, it's around about my thumb width, but Toby says I've got like really fat thumbs, so probably like 2 fingers if you've got like small hands or something like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to clamp the earth braid band thingamajig to the armouring. So this is the earth band, and that's basically going to connect onto the armouring like so. And that's going to maintain the earth connection between the SWAs of both cables. It's going to hold on with this little metal strip, which you basically wrap around. Now what I always do is I always get one wrap around first, and then put the banding on. And I always put the band on the bottom, not on the top, because I find if we put the band on the top, when we're working on everything, it all gets in the way, and we don't want that. So we're just going to wrap that around, make that nice and pretty, and then that's going to be a nice solid connection on there. So just like that. So unwind the whole thing, and then what we're going to do is get some tape, preferably black, because we've got OCD and we want everything to look pucker, even though no one's going to see it. And then all we're going to do is just wrap loads and loads of tape around there, and what the tape's going to do is it's just going to help hold everything in place, and that's it really. It doesn't really serve any other purpose apart from to keep everything where it needs to be. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to strip the 25mm, this one out, and do exactly the same. Okay, so we're just about to start ringing the 25mm. So what we're going to do is that's going to come in yonder, and basically we're going to score it in line with this second clip here. So that's where we're going to score it. And then because this cable's too small for this joint, what we're going to do is, where my thumb is, we're going to basically wrap loads of tape, black tape around there, just so we can fill it out and make it the right size, so when the joint clamps down, it pinches down on the tape and creates a seal, so none of the compound resin can come out. So I'm just going to strip this down and get this one ready as well. There you go, well done, Toby. Okay, so we've now got both cables stripped. We've still got to wrap some plastic tape around there just to fill that out, so that fills the gap around the torpedo joint. And then what we're going to do is, with our shear connectors, we're basically going to stagger them through the joint. So we'll have one there, and then we'll start the next one just up a bit, and then the grey will be up a little bit more. So the reason why we stagger them is it just makes it easier to get them all in the torpedo joint, and if they're not touching, then they can't short out or conduct. Not that they will, but you just take every possibility into account, and yeah, happy days. So these are the little connectors we're going to be using today. They're called shear connectors. They take it from 25mm down to 95. We'll be using this side as a 25mm because we're going to leave this little insert in, and then we're going to use this side as the 95, and we're going to take that little insert out. They are quite a snug fit on the 95s, so but they definitely do go, and they are quite nice. I quite enjoy them. So not the cheapest bit of kit, but nice, simple and easy. Alright, so to build the cable out, what we're going to do is get comfortable, or try to, in a little pit. Right, so this is where we need to tape it, where my thumb is. So we're just basically going to pick it up, get some black tape, and we're going to wrap it around about 20 times. And what that's going to do is that's going to make the cable at that point fatter. So when we put the torpedo casing on, the torpedo casing will actually dig into the tape. So when we pour the compound resin, none of the resin will leak out. So, and again, we're going to look at the same thing as we did last time, where we're looking for the torpedo to sit there in the center of the cable. So once we know we've done that, then when we put the other half on, it all clamps up nice and tightly. So let's give that a try. So here's our non-cut end. Right, so as you see on there, that is finishing bang in the middle. So once we put the bottom piece on and clip that on, that'll give a nice tight seal, and then all we do is just wrap some more tape around, and that'll just keep all the liquid inside. So as Toby's demonstrating, right, these 95mm really do not bend very easily, and this is why we are not taking these into a rifle panel with a pin connector on it, because in all honesty, I think that's ridiculous. So alright, so now we've got both cables ready. What we're going to do is we're going to mark where these need cutting for the shear connectors. So basically we're going to have one there, and that's where it's going to finish. So we're going to have one just up from our finish mark, so we're going to have that one there, and then that's where that one's going to finish. And so then we come up again and we say there. Right, so we've now got the 3 marks for where we want all of our bits to be cut. All right, we can spread them out further, but I just like to just keep them all close together. It just makes it nice and simple then. So, all right, so we've stripped down our first core. Here's our shear connector. We've taken the bolt out all the way we can, and we're just going to struggle to get that on, and then we're just going to get a little bit of Happy Gilmore and just tap it in. Yeah. Right, and then what that does is it goes down, and then we are there. Right, so now we've done that, we take our ratchet and we do our bolt up, and what will happen is if you get to a certain torque, and the bolt will shear off. So just like that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly do the brown and the grey, get those ready, and then I'll come back to you. So when we're doing these shear connectors, I find it really easy to do your horrible side first. And when we put our lug on, I don't really see that now. When we put our lug on, we want to put some insulation tape on it. So I'm just going to wrap this around, covering everything all the way around, and I'm going to do that up to the bolt. So basically, when we do the other bolt, we've only got a little bit of connector that we need to insulate, so which makes it nice and easy because there's less stuff in the way. Okay, so we've done all the connectors on our 3 ends. They're all staggered, so they're not touching. There's all enough room so compound resin can go around them. Yep, so now we're going to connect the earth strap from one armoured cable to, I'll get that out of the way, to the other one. So basically we'll do exactly the same as what we did down the other end. Going to wrap the brass ring around there and then wrap some tape on it. Alright then, so once again we are going to push one ring around, grab our earth strap. Now we did trim a little bit off of the earth strap, not a lot, just about an inch, because we don't want any excess on there. And then I'm just going to wrap that around once again. So it goes all the way around. That's it. And then we're going to get our tape. And then we're going to wrap our tape around once again, just to make everything all nice, clean, and not moving. So, right, you don't have to use black, you can use whatever colour you want. I just always prefer keeping colours the same. So, but I'm fully aware it doesn't matter, but yeah. Right, and there's the other earth strap done. Right, so we're now going to set the cable in position, and then the brown, black, grey, we're going to cut those down and connect those into the other side of the shear connectors, and then we're ready for pouring. Alright, so all of our there. Let's try again. Right, all of our shear connectors are done. We've tried to make the torpedo as level as possible. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the top on and click that all into position. And then what I like to do is, once that's on and it's in and it's clipped, what I like to do then is basically wrap zip ties around a torpedo, not basically just to make sure that the clips don't fail. Not saying they will, but if you prepare for the worst, then the worst can't happen really. So so we'll clip these in, we'll get some zip ties around it, we'll wrap some tape around the end of it, and then we'll pour some compound. Alright, so our torpedo's all clipped into place. We've put our safety tyres on it, just in case, and now we're just going to tape all the ends up to just make sure that nothing comes out at the end. And what we're going to do is going to just wrap this round and slowly start going up the torpedo. So now what I tend to do is I don't go any further than this clip. Yep, so, and it doesn't matter how much tape you put on. Like when you feel like you put enough tape on, then that's it. This will just basically, any leakage will basically come out the end of the joint. So if we make that nice and anti-leak, then we should be all right. So, all right, so we've got our joint all done already. We're now going to start putting in the compound resin. So, oops, there it goes. Right, so it's a 2-part mix. So we've got the top part and the bottom part, and basically all we do is there's a little plastic rod here. We pull that rod out, this top liquid drops down into the bottom liquid, and then all you do is you mix it up for 5 minutes, and then once you've done that, the compound is ready to go. You know it's mixing right because it starts to warm up. So and it is recommended to wear gloves when using this because it's not the nicest of stuff. Alright, so we've pulled the rod out, there's our compound mix, and we're basically just going to mix that all together for 5 minutes. So I'll see you in 5 minutes. Alright, so we've just mixed up our compound. We're wearing our nicely supplied gloves that come with the joint. We are literally just going to take the corner of the bag, which gives us a nice little pour point. And then we're going to transfer the contents of this bag into this joint. And unfortunately my arm's in the way. Dickhead. So, right, okay. So just going to pour the contents in. And then we're going to tap it a little bit to get all the air out of it, and then we're going to pour the last little bit we need to fill it up. So now what you want to do is you want to try, and I'll use that word loosely, you want to try and make sure that the joint is level, just because it will then disperse evenly. Now because these are being buried and they're not on show, I really don't care about the resin being spilt out over the side. But when we do these and they're on display, I try my very best not to have it so it leaks, because the last thing we want is resin going everywhere and dripping over other cables or whatever. So, because once this stuff goes off, it don't come off. So what we're doing is just tapping the torpedo just to get all that resin into those little bits that it won't easily get into, and also it forces any air out of it. Right, and then we'll just continue to pour until it comes up to the top like so, and then we've got a little bit of plastic up here which I should have got out earlier. So we've got a little cap piece. Right, so this little bit here goes on there, and that's it. We've got one joint, and as you can see, looking at the ends, we've got no resin leaking out, so everything's nice and thingy, and the only spillage we do have is where I accidentally spilled some out. Oh well. Alright, excellent. There we go. That's how you do a torpedo. Alright, so there we go. So, a couple of hours later, and then we've got 2 joints ready to be connected into our Glasdon.